Welcome in Tuesday, Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here this morning. Ole Miss and Alabama, 2:30 CBS on Saturday. We'll talk some NFL today. We'll talk some college football today. We'll review what Kiffin said yesterday, but honestly, he didn't say much. I didn't at least think there was a whole lot there, even less than most weeks. So we'll hit it, but
we've all surrendered.
It was fine.
We've all surrendered. He's not going to answer certain questions, and we've stopped asking them, which I can't decide if that frustrates him or not. But we don't ask about injuries. He's not going to tell us. We don't ask about game plan. He's
not going to tell us.
He's not going to tell us.
Well, at some point, I mean, to an extent, he has trained us. Okay.
To a degree.
Yeah. I don't mean it negatively. I mean,
Yeah.
There's no reason in wasting time and space
Yeah.
over something he's not going to say.
Right.
So, yes. Brian has a story on Quinshon Judkins this morning. Head over to rebelgrove.com to check that out. A deep dive into Judkins' high school career.
If you're in the live stream, it's not up yet.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's live.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's there.
I was still editing.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It's fine. Well, that's good. I mean, it will be picked up. It's fine. It's early.
That's a good point.
The site doesn't really kick in till like 8:30. Like, I think people have to get to work to then stop work and get online and check everything out. It's kind of sleepy from an analytics standpoint.
Gotcha.
Until just after the pod, and then it gets going. So
I'm gonna be sleepy most of the day.
Are you?
Yeah, I was 12:30 going to bed. I hate 8 p.m. basketball. I'll just let everybody in on that. Things I hate on the list. Not complaining.
You hate what?
8 p.m. basketball.
Yeah.
College basketball officiating has not changed.
Still bad.
It's abysmal. It is. It's really bad. The product, not the Ole Miss product. College basketball, the product, is a bad product.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk some basketball today too. I kind of forgot that. They knock off Alcorn by, 10-15. It was close throughout most of the game. Rebels pulled away there late on the back of Morrell's 5 3-pointers. He led the Rebels in scoring. So anyway, we'll get into some stuff today. But yeah, story, Judkins story, Judkins story. Up at the site again, a deep dive into Ole Miss's freshman running back that is currently one of the top backs in college football heading into to Saturday. So the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford, Blue Sky location, giving away some football jerseys, some official Ole Miss game day football jerseys. Going to be a powder blue one, I think they're going to give away after Saturday's game against Alabama. Every time you make a purchase at the Blue Sky here in Oxford, any purchase, you're eligible to sign up into that contest to win a jersey. You'll do another one for the Egg Bowl as well. And while you're in there, get a lunch special. It's any size fountain drink, bread, and more there from the Blue Sky. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford. Excuse me. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. Just get your quote. Do with it what you will. Or you can do what I've done. Hop into a Clark Ford. You'll love the product. You'll absolutely love the service. Corey and the people there take great care of you. They want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove it to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. A lot of guests coming up later in the week. They'll join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Square is the perfect place for your Christmas party or gathering. They can accommodate parties of 10 to 500. Great food with a Cajun flair, holiday drinks, in a festive atmosphere. Call Jeannie, 601-842-0948, to request a catering menu and reserve a date. We've got some shows up on the site. Another one coming out in a little bit. The Davison Igmanosin show will be up early this afternoon. It's brought to you by the College Corner. It's one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. The Mason Brooks Show is up. It's brought to you by The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. And the Troy Brown Show is up as well. It's brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer. 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call the people at Southern, 662-429-4429. Also, let's see, Siskey and McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel, is up. Taped that yesterday afternoon. A lot of stuff there. One of the sponsors of that show is Walk On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Check them out in Oxford or Ridgeland today.
So, a couple things. One, it's getting a good bit of play. You're talking about it on the stream. It was on the site at Rebel Grove yesterday as well when it happened. Dan Lanning's comment in regard to the Auburn job. What?
No.
You're sighing over there.
Are you bracing? It's November the 8th. I'm Auburned out.
You Auburn out?
Mm-hmm.
Body get a ba.
Nope.
Just boom ba.
Weagle, Eagle, War Dam, Eagle, kick him in the butt, Big Blue, hey.
Yeah, that's it. Quote, grass is damn green in Eugene. I want to be here in Eugene for as long as Eugene will have me. This place has everything I could possibly ever want, my family could ever want. Okay, fine, whatever. We can talk about the intellectual properties of the comment. He has a buyout of $15 million were he to leave to go to another school.
Yeah.
That matters a lot more than whatever quote is on that page there, because that's a lot of freaking money to buy out a coach from one school to then having bought out your coach and to pay that coach and that staff moving forward. Frankly, unless I'm missing something, and I understand we're talking about huge values, to any school in the country, that makes Dan Lanning unhireable this year. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all like an exercise in futility. We're worried about words when the problem is $15 million to even talk to him to then hire him. This is stupid.
And he's not leaving Oregon for Auburn.
No.
I think what's his name? James Crepea. He used to work in Alabama. He now covers Oregon for the Oregonian.
Oh, does he really?
He did this long series of stories on Dan Lanning back over the summer. Dan Lanning's a superstar in the coaching business. Like, I think Dan Lanning was on Keith Carter's short list when he was an assistant at Georgia. Dan Lanning is, inside coaching circles, considered the odds-on favorite to replace Nick Saban whenever that day rolls around. If Kirby Smart were to walk away, and there are people who think Kirby Smart will walk away sooner rather than later, in coaching circles, okay?
They don't think he's going to coach till 65 or whatever.
No. They think if Kirby gets a few titles, got his ton of money, that he's going to walk away. Going to go enjoy his family, do whatever he does for fun. Because God knows he'll have the money to do it. If he were to walk away, Dan Lanning is on the incredibly short list to replace Kirby Smart at Georgia. Nobody in his or her right mind, with no emotional attachment to Auburn, would put Auburn ahead of Georgia or Alabama on a coaching pecking order, any more than they'd put Ole Miss ahead of it. It's why when people do will Lane Kiffin leave? To where? Would Lane Kiffin go to Alabama? Yes. Tomorrow. I think he'd walk across the field before the game and coach the other team if it were offered to him, because it's that good of a job. I know what he says about replacing Saban, blah, blah, blah. Baloney. But this is, and I'm so hesitant to say this because these are the kind of words that get clipped and you eat them forever. This feels like Auburn there's just an ego attached to this search that's borderline weird, that forces Dan Lanning to have to address it because of rumors. What's he supposed to say?
It's evidence, though, that what you say doesn't matter. So who gives a crap if Lane doesn't talk about it or does talk about it or anything else?
But if he says...
People are going to run with their own crap no matter what comes out of your mouth.
But if he says this yesterday, if he goes, look, I'm not talking about that stuff right now. I'm focused on whoever Oregon's playing this week.
Sure, whatever.
Cal, UCLA, whoever. I'm focused on that game. We've got a big game focused on our kids. Really like it here. My family loves it here. Little Johnny just hit a double in fall ball. We're super excited. Everything's great. Oh, he didn't say no.
Bo Nix for Heisman, go Ducks.
He didn't say no. What's he supposed to say? That's why I hate these questions.
Is Lanning a Sexton guy?
I don't know. Probably. He was on Kirby's staff, so probably. Most of the guys on Kirby's staff.
Kirby gets a kickback when he gets an assistant to Sexton?
No, but I think that does shape how staffs are formed. Most of the guys around the SEC are Sexton guys. And so when coaches need to move from staff to staff, I think it is facilitated through the agency. A coach is disgruntled at one place, needs to move to another place. That coach has an opening. I do think that those wheels are greased. So my guess would be that Dan Lanning is a
yes. There's absolutely an ecosystem involved.
Oh, for sure. My guess is Dan Lanning is a Sexton guy. He's very, very good. He's a very good coach. Look at the job he's done at Oregon this year. He's, like I said, considered a rising star. I don't know why Dan Lanning would consider Auburn right now.
Yeah, it would have no bearing on Hugh at all. He just would want the Auburn job. But yes, he did have a daughter go to Auburn. But
she transferred to Liberty, I think. But yes, I think she started.
She at least started at Auburn.
I think so. Okay. She's the one that was Caroline's age? No, it was one of the older ones.
I don't know. Yeah. One went to Auburn, one went to maybe Samford. Is that right?
I don't know.
Andy had a kid at Samford, right?
One of Andy's girls went to Auburn, and one of Andy's girls went to Samford.
Okay, so maybe I'm getting a lot of coaches mixed up right now. But for some reason, I think that's right about Hugh as well. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Stoops is complaining about Kentucky's NIL now? Publicly?
He was begging for money yesterday.
Was he really?
Yep. Oh.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Does it mean it was a one-year deal a little bit? Like, hey.
I don't know. It's part of one of the things. We've talked about this so many times, right? This is going to correct itself over time. This whole NIL thing is going.
It's not year over year.
No, it's the wild, wild west still. I can't help but wonder if Mark Stoops looks at Kentucky and goes, you know what? This might be as good as I can do. Time to roll. Maybe he's campaigning behind the scenes for the Auburn gig. Maybe he wants the Iowa gig if Iowa moves on. I don't know. Everybody says he likes Kentucky a lot. We always say there's not going to be coaching movement at the end of the year, and then there's coaching movement at the end of every year. Webb, thank you for the super chat. He says, Hugh to Auburn. Will that hurt Ole Miss? Is Coast of the kicker? There's a lot of questions here. All right, we'll take them one by one. Hugh to Auburn, I think it's a real possibility. I've thought that
he's
all
a
along.
top 3 candidate, I would say.
Will that hurt Ole Miss?
Well, it hurts Ole Miss if Auburn is good. It doesn't necessarily hurt Ole Miss that Hugh Freeze is there.
You'd rather Auburn suck, but I think Hugh will do well there if he gets the job.
Does Hugh get into Mississippi more than other coaches would, or into whatever? Ole Miss doesn't really focus on that. So
I don't know that Lane cares.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is Costa the kicker coming back? I don't know. He's eligible to come back for the Egg Bowl. He won't kick in the Egg Bowl. That would be stupid.
They're not taking that away from Jonathan Cruz.
Although I guess he could kick in the last 2 games, and it wouldn't cost him a year of eligibility because he didn't kick in 4 games.
Yeah, but they have a kicker who's
but
good.
Cruz is missed 1 kick all year?
Yeah,
Thoughts on the impact of Juice Kiffin? I don't know. He's a dog. The deal about using the Realtree helmet again this year, I think it's an SEC. It's an SEC kind of NIL.
It's a red tape issue.
It's a red tape issue. And I don't think the league's being a pain in the ass, but they have to be careful. You can open Pandora's box a little bit.
Kentucky's going to have to pay Barry and Brown more. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of bidders, I would think, for Barry and Brown. Probably some tampering going on there.
Mark Stoops. I think any program would say they want more. The Yankees probably want more money. Everybody needs that. I'll say this without getting too much into it. We've worked our way through that as an administration, an institution, a program, to find the balance and make sure it's clean, make sure it's legal, fair, ethical, moral. We've worked through all that. Our administration has helped us as a program, and all of our student athletes and coaches get through some of that. They can't stop. They can't. They just have to do the ethical, moral, legal thing, don't they? Like, they just can't leave the sentence out, even though everybody goes, "Oh, come the hell!"
Well, I want to remind you that we're talking about college athletics. Okay.
I mean, I'm just like,
I know, but I want to remind you. No, hold up. I want to remind you that we're talking about college athletics. Because if we were being real about college athletics, nobody would pay women's basketball coaches $1 million.
Sure.
Nobody. Because it's senseless. Maybe UConn. Maybe UConn could justify it.
South Carolina.
Nobody else.
Tennessee back in the day. But yeah, point stands, whatever. Yeah.
You wouldn't even play all the other sports. You would just shut that stuff down. So there's always going to be a level of false virtue and stuff that goes along with college athletics. It just is what it is. You just have to accept it. It's just part of it.
Well, we're speaking about dumb sentences, though. We're wasting everyone's time, I guess is my point. Lanning was wasting everybody's time. I mean, I guess he wasted it less because at least he made his own people feel good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's almost kind of like a politician. Speaking of election day, you're just trying to make your constituents as happy as possible and give as much money as possible. That's why I don't blame, it's why what Lanning said had a lot of context to, hey, yeah, sure, but even if you wanted to go somewhere, it's prohibitive because you would owe $15 million or $14 million or whatever the number is. But at the same time, if that generated an extra $5,000 in their NIL system for the day, it worked.
Sure.
I mean, there's no negative to saying you're staying at the place you're staying at. And this is not about Lane. This is just in general.
Unless you turn around a month later and leave.
Well, okay. I mean, right. Sure.
Right. That's the only risk, is if you say, hey, I'm never leaving here. This is the greatest place.
But that's incredibly strong. I mean,
I love it here. I'm going to stay here as long as they'll have me.
Those are big words.
I would have, as his representative, said, hey, don't pour it on that thick.
Take a breath.
I love it here. Everyone's been really good to us. We have no interest in leaving. Stop there. Don't say, we're going to stay as long as they'll have me.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's a big one, Dan. You're going to eat those words at some point.
Yeah, because that is not true.
And they won't be tasty when you eat them. So don't.
We can move us to the next break, too. What are the Colts doing? They're only 2 games back in the division. I know they're not winning the AFC South, but was that not weird?
You know, I'm always with Jeffrey here.
Uh-huh.
We always have to remind you of this.
Uh-huh.
Just because people become a title, okay? Just because you get that title, that doesn't mean that you're suddenly smarter than you were before you had the title. It just means you somehow got the title.
Okay.
Maybe you won the lucky sperm contest. Maybe you just fell forward. Maybe you just caught a break. Maybe you just kind of won the lottery.
Maybe you're really rich and owned a football team.
Maybe the stars aligned and you got really rich and owned a football team. It doesn't make you a smart guy.
Because it's nothing against Jeff Saturday, but there's nothing about that made any sense, right?
No. Nothing.
He hasn't coached.
I mean, and it's only in the NFL halfway through the season.
They're 2 back. That's it. They are 2 back.
But even if you were 6 back, you've got another 8 or 9 games to play.
They have 9 games to play.
He's got to go find people to come in and call the offense this weekend.
They are 3-5 on the season.
So
how is the GM still hired? I know everybody likes Chris Ballard a lot. I mean, I've got a podcast coming with Javon Patterson. He loves Chris Ballard. But how is Chris Ballard still employed?
Oh, I don't know that. Again, I don't know how these things work and who owns who has dirt on whoever. But like, if this were 2 games left in the season and this were a PR stunt, okay, cool. But there's a lot of season left. And if you're Jeff Saturday, don't you say no?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm an analyst. I've got a good deal. I'm not leaving.
But he probably wasn't staying for the next dude either. And I mean, in some ways, look, Saturday, I don't think it's harming his reputation to do it. I don't think anybody's blaming him. I mean, like a lot of things, you're not blaming the guy who was hired. You're blaming the guy who hired him. It's a totally different thing. I mean,
Yeah.
in some ways, if I'm Saturday, I go, hey, I get to be an NFL coach for 8 weeks. Cool. All right, sweet. Like,
it feels like kind of a movie, right? Oh, you can like remember that when
they get hot and go 6-3 down the stretch and host the playoff game against the Jets.
what's the line on their game this week?
Reagan Freeze, by the way, is working for Hugh at Liberty.
Okay.
She is married and working for Hugh.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No ill will there. Good. Yeah, I just thought it was. We'll continue. We'll talk about it in a second. First, tell you about Prime Shrimp. PrimeShrimp.com. 6 different flavors directly to your door. Throw it in the freezer when you're ready to eat. Fewer than 10 minutes from freezer to plate with Prime Shrimp. 6 different flavors available for you, including their most recent, the lemon cracked pepper, the signature, the full meals in a bag, the French Quarter Alfredo, or the garlic herb butter, or if you want a little more kick, the Louisiana Shrimp Bowl. Use code MPW for $20 off your first order. You can also use that code for their 2-pound bags of individually frozen shrimp that are just like the grocery store, except a higher quality shrimp from the New Orleans-based company. So again, code MPW there with PrimeShrimp.com.
Also brought to you by Dead Soxy, best socks you'll ever put on your feet. They'll be hosting the MPW Digital postgame show on Saturday night after Ole Miss and Alabama. Let's go to deadsoxy.com, promo code Rebel Grove, get 25% off. A-Stock Auctions is a Nashville-based online auction company. They have the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A-Stock start at just $1. Every item starts at $1. Shop now at astock.bid or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock Auctions has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Want it, bid it, win it. We're brought to you by Solutions RX. It's a probiotic multivitamin supplement company created by Ole Miss Pharmacy alum Chris Cornelison. It's pharmaceutical grade, manufactured right here inside Mississippi. Highly recommend prescription support if you take any medication such as diabetes medication, high blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, that kind of thing. Prescription support is going to put vitamins back into your body that those medications are depleting. You're going to feel better. It's going to make you more compliant with taking your medications. It's going to help you stay healthier over the long term. SolutionsRx.com, promo code OEP at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch used before while you drink. Overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. All natural ingredients keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Also brought to you by Holcomb Portable Buildings, 7991 Highway 7 South and Holcomb. At Holcomb, they custom build your building to your specifications. However you want your carport, your ATV, storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb Portable Buildings can accommodate you. You pick the color, the style, the windows, the doors. Holcomb makes it happen. In-house financing is available. Free delivery and setup within 75 miles of Holcomb as well. 662-226-2233 or go to holcombbuildings.com. You can also find them on Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings.
Podcast also brought to you by Style Assembly, located just off the square in Oxford. It's a women's boutique ready to get you ready for fall. They can help you ladies with the ladies in your life with your fall needs, no matter the budget, size, or occasion. They're here to help you assemble your style. They pride themselves on customer service and effortlessly dressing. And to celebrate Rebel wins or just be in town for the big weekends, they're offering a big incentive for Rebel Grove subscribers, podcast listeners from now through the end of November. You can win a $250 gift card to shop at Style Assembly. Do me a favor, just head in. All you have to do is go into the store, tell one of the sales associates or ask for the owner, Kate. Say, hey, I came to check out Style Assembly and what they have to offer. There's no purchase necessary. They just want to get to know you and hope they can help you in the future with your styling or gifting needs. Men, head in, take care of Christmas. Maybe you'll win as well and help out the lady in your life with that. They've got a big collection of Gooder sunglasses and more. So again, head in, maybe win $250 gift card there at Style Assembly and all their social channels. Shop styleassembly.com.
Hey, today,
Yep.
when you think, man, my day sort of sucks.
Uh-huh.
This day's not going the way I wanted it to go.
Okay.
This day's just frustrating. This day can't end soon enough.
Okay.
Think about Clark Lee.
Is it getting worse?
It got worse. Not only did he wake up today and he's still presumably bald, his DB coach, Dan Jackson,
Okay.
will, quote, step back from his responsibilities, end quote.
But now what does that mean?
step back from
Means
his
he's going to get fired in
responsibilities.
3 weeks.
Means we're in the process of firing Mr. Jackson
Okay.
in light of his recent social media comment in support of Kanye West. You think Clark Lee's thinking, yep, this isn't working. Athletic director.
He was so close to convince. He could have convinced himself. He wasn't going to do it, but he could have convinced himself had he waited, he would be the Notre Dame head coach today.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He could have beat Clemson on Saturday.
Instead, he got to meet with athletic director Candace Story-Lee, who said,
I didn't know Vanderbilt had an athletic director.
Now you do. Said in a press release that Vanderbilt has initiated an internal review of the situation. Jackson commented, why do you have to review it? You already know what happened. Jackson commented on Facebook that West, who has made multiple anti-Semitic claims in recent weeks and months, is, quote, 2 steps ahead of everyone, end quote, and that, quote, more people need to wake up and speak their mind, end quote. He apologized for the comment on Friday. Lee was asked about this in his post game, where he said, in his mind he was going, I'm making $4 million. I'm making $4 million. I'm making $4 million. I'm making $4 million.
I can get a lot of jobs when I leave Vanderbilt. I can get some coordinator gigs.
Our boy Clark had a rough day.
He's had a bad week. The realization hit him that he's not going to win an SEC game.
No. Could they just play that song?
Does Vanderbilt have one of those, like, we are Ole Miss, just Auburn being Auburn's? Because it happens a lot. Is there just Vanderbilt being Vanderbilt? Or is Vanderbilt is that the default setting for Vanderbilt?
I just think when you walk, they should change their song. Ole Miss should change their mascot. They should change their song. I can't remember the artist that sang it. The one that said you had a bad day, taking one down, all that stuff.
Yeah,
wasn't it American
Daniel
Idol?
Something, right?
Yeah, just play it on a loop. Well, USC does their fight song. Just play that song on a loop over and over and over. At least just steer your way into
Daniel Powder.
Him.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could call him up and go, hey, can we buy some licensing rights to this so our band can just play this on a loop, make this our fight song? What would he say? He said, sure. It's free money.
Clark's probably getting to the point where nothing even surprises him. He probably came in this morning and went, okay, sure, it's today.
Yeah.
Install the defense. Cool.
He comes home. His wife says, how was your day, Clark?
Don't want to talk about it.
Same as every other day.
The check come? Okay, cool.
You did check the account, right? Because the moment that check's not there, I'm out. No, it's still there. Okay. What you got planned for tomorrow? Another day of losing. Another day of losing. Go out and find some players to help us lose more. Keep losing. Who knows what one of my coaches will do? I don't know. You heard that Daniel Powder song? It's really nice.
What network you think picks Barton up next year?
Oh, wow, that's cold. That's cold.
I like Barton. Wow. No, I'm not.
Fired.
I like Barton, but it has no chance of working.
Wow.
I don't even know that it wasn't even a bad career move, but there was no chance of it long term, him being a sustainable coach at Vanderbilt, meaning Clark Lee.
When later today on the internet it's, did you hear McCready go after Barton Simmons? I'm going to be like, no.
Do you believe Barton Simmons is employed at Vanderbilt in 24 months? Because do you think Clark Lee is at Vanderbilt in 24 months? No.
What else are they going to do?
At the end of 24 months, 0-8, 0-8, 0-8, 0-24?
I mean,
running a losing streak in the SEC at that point to 40 games?
No, you have to do something, but at what point do you...
Yeah, I'm not blaming Barton or Clark here.
No.
That's not my point.
At what point,
I'm just saying, like...
But at some point, that institution has to look itself in the mirror and go, why are we doing this other than the money? And if the answer is it was just the money, okay, cool. Then quit firing people. Just let Clark Lee represent you forever. What will happen in the next 12 months or so is he'll start to let go of the rope. You start to realize this is hopeless.
Yeah.
You fight for a certain period of time. You watch a football game that's a blowout. At the end of the game, the team that's getting blown out is starting to lose its intensity. They fight for a while, and we go, hey, man, they're really playing hard. And at the end, you're kind of like, bless them.
Look, Chris will admit this. They're at a school that just doesn't care.
Oh, Chris will tell you that out loud.
They don't care at all. Yeah, I get I understand why Clark Lee took the gig. Getting paid a lot of money. I understand why Barton took the gig.
It's home. He grew up there.
He'll get back whatever job he wants in the other
all
industry.
That stuff. Clark made the mistake of getting romantic about college football. Don't. Now, I'm sure he got paid money that the family will. They've got.
Yeah, sure.
Got a beautiful young family. I'm sure that the money will go a long way. But on top of everything else at that place, you've got to be on top of all of your P's and Q's at all times.
And there's no slap on the wrist.
Mm-mm.
It's over.
So now he's got to go through a process where they go through the process of firing this coach.
Basically going through the process to whatever extent they have to not get sued, essentially what they're doing.
Make sure they didn't violate his rights or whatnot.
I'm kind of all over the place this morning. I'm just sort of hitting high points from yesterday. The last thing on the Irsay thing, he said some really dumb things because he essentially yesterday at one point defended stupidity and talked about analytics being bad at one point yesterday. But a media member, I don't know who it was, and I don't know him, so maybe he's a lovely human being, but was almost trying to gain support because he thought he had gotten a gotcha at Irsay about the Rooney Rule yesterday. Did you see this?
No.
So I think it was Irsay. If I had the wrong person in the Colts administration, you can let me know. But essentially, he asked, did you guys follow the Rooney Rule for this hiring? They hired Saturday very quickly after they fired whatever.
Right.
And Irsay's response, and again, I don't have the quote in front of me, was basically, we followed the Rooney Rule to crossing every T and dotting every I or whatever he said, but didn't elaborate on anything to the process.
Right.
Well, the Rooney Rule only applies on off-season hires.
Right.
And in-season change does nothing whatsoever.
No.
And the stupid media member tried to make it out of, he didn't. It's like,
I know.
You're trying so hard to make this something that you don't understand the rule.
It's why people hate our field. It's why coaches hate us. I don't blame them. Other people hate us. People won't talk to us because we get associated. I get it. We're horrible. But by God, everyone wants to get that story. Oh, so you didn't follow all the protocols. Yeah, they actually did. Middle of the season. It's an interim coach. You can do what you want.
As for the fate of Ballard, as I mentioned a minute ago, Irsay quickly dismissed any thoughts of parting with the sixth-year GM. There's no question about that. Honestly, it's not even in the consciousness of mind. The guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. They tried in 2019 to hire Saturday as their offensive line coach and approached him earlier this year about a position as well. Neither resulted in him being interested at those times. There was nothing really notable from a Saints standpoint last night as the Ravens beat the hell out of them in the Superdome. But I did laugh at a Jeff Duncan, which is hard for me to do because he's usually horrible. I'm mad at everybody today, aren't I? A little on edge today. Jeff Duncan's not a good beat writer. He's not. He's not a good beat writer. Again, don't know him, but he's not a good beat writer.
Carry on. Keep going.
You don't think Jeff Duncan's good?
The bar open? What?
But he tweeted last night. There was some Saints people on the field before the game, and Jim Mora was there with Steve Gleason. And
Jim Mora Sr.
Jim Mora Sr.,
Mhm.
yes, correctly, not the UConn coach, the playoffs coach. And he recited a thing that had happened. He said that when Mora had met Gleason, he goes, "Hey, really great to meet you," or whatever. And Steve said, "I've met you before. You cut me in 2000 with the Colts." And he did not remember that he had previously cut him at that point. So, but yeah, it was. Baltimore's pretty good, and the Saints are beat up and bad most of the time.
Yeah, the Saints just don't. They're 3-6. They don't look the part. The window has closed.
Because their defense is a problem. I mean, I get Dalton wasn't good last night, but
it's more than that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Ravens, they look like a team that could potentially contend. I think the AFC is more open.
Well, and Josh Allen's got an injury now.
I know.
UCL.
Well, so much of the NFL season is a battle of attrition. How healthy can you be at the end? Can you get in, and then can you get in healthy? Can you make it to the playoffs, and can you make it to the playoffs healthy? And then you match up and catch a break and whatever.
I mean, what do we know about Allen at this point?
I don't know.
More info today. It's UCL related.
Yeah, they'll know more. That's usually a bad sign. That's usually, hey, we needed to get another opinion. Let's get another MRI. Let's pray that this MRI was wrong.
Bills losing to the Jets on Sunday. The Jets 6-3, despite being without Breece Hall now for the rest of the year. The Dolphins have survived. They're 6-3. That doesn't feel as real, but
Tua doesn't pass the eye test. They're winning with him, but he doesn't.
And his numbers are good.
They are, but he's missing throws that you have to make.
Yeah, the competitive division 6-2, 6-3, 6-3, 5-4. Even the Patriots have found a way to be over 500. I don't really like their team. Ravens 6-3, Bengals one back at 5-4. We mentioned the AFC South. The Titans 5-3, Colts 3-5, and then Chiefs have taken a one-game lead in the AFC West. They are 6-2 ahead of the 5-3 Chargers. Chargers scuffling a little early, but have turned it around a little bit there.
Yeah, they look good. They look better. They've got. I think he's getting a little healthier, Herbert, as he goes along, feeling a little better.
Eagles at 8-0, only undefeated team remaining.
And they passed the eye test.
They do.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And they've gotten better. They've made trades.
Yeah.
They continue to improve at this point.
They look good.
Cowboys and Giants 6-2, Vikings 7-1. Buccaneers 4-5, Falcons 4-5 in that division.
See, the Vikings to me don't really pass the eye test. I watched them a good bit this past week. They won. They survived.
Yeah, like I said, I like them more than you do, but they remind me a little bit. They're sort of the NFC version of the Dolphins, where you go, yeah, okay,
yeah. I think Cousins can get you to the playoffs. I don't think he can get you through the playoffs.
He reminds me a lot of Andy Dalton from 10 years ago.
And I don't mean that as a criticism because, hey,
that's a top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean there's a bunch of teams that would kill to have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. Yeah. But it feels like there's a ceiling there. Who are the others? I mean, the Vikings have that division's over. I mean, they're 7-1. The Packers are in second place at 3-6. Yeah, they've got. If you're them, you're playing for that 2 seed. It doesn't do anything for you anymore. Oh, that's right. Well, you get to play I hate this new thing. I don't like it. Hate it. You're right. I can't stand the number 2 seed not getting a bye. I think it's one of the few mistakes they have made. Oh, that's true. Yeah. The Saints don't even get their pick. The Eagles have their pick. No viewing availability for the early part of practice today, which is a change from usual on Tuesdays. Make anything of it? It tells me that maybe there are a couple of guys that are trying to get back who are out there. Because he was very positive about injury situations yesterday. I mean, all eyes on in this case would be on Michael Trigg. Of course. Casey Kelly. Trigg is at that hypothetical 4 to 5 week window. Yeah. And it could be that those guys aren't out there and he doesn't want that reported.
That's good.
So before you go super positive on it, you have to look at the other side and go, it's possible that some guys just aren't back. And he doesn't want that pointed out.
I'll get into it after the break in a second. Did you take anything from what he said to be indicative of Trig or just team-wide yesterday if you were speculating about injuries?
Team-wide.
Said it was the healthiest they'd been since the early part of training camp.
I took it as just kind of team-wide. Like I think Kendrick Breedlove, I've heard, is coming back. He's been out for a while.
As said in the stream, Cedric a little healthier.
Yeah, a little healthier. I talked to Troy. It's on the network. Troy's feeling better than he's felt in weeks. Yeah, I mean, weeks off help. And they're careful about it. I mean, I don't think they did much last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were a bunch of guys. Like, I think Troy was one of these guys. I don't think Troy ever really got on the field. Spent a lot of time in the training room, whirlpool,
the little side of the field thing.
Yeah, that deal. Yeah, not even a lot of that. I think he was in the room getting off his feet, and then I think he was off his feet. He didn't go home. He had originally, I think, planned to go home, and he didn't go home. He slept.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he feels better. Now, it's still a shoulder, and
it's got to stay in place.
At the end of the year, they're going to have to go fix it.
Yeah.
But feels better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got to play 3 games. Here's the part that everybody's talking about. It's 3 games in 12 days starting Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we didn't talk about this. Ole Miss did not catch a schedule break.
6 or 6:30 against Arkansas.
Yeah, and I had a feeling when I saw the LSU-Arkansas game at 11 that they weren't going to do back-to-back 11s. They don't do that to people much. And so that game's either 6 or 6:30, depending on South Carolina, Tennessee. But it's a night game, which means for Ole Miss,
getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Who at the earliest?
Yeah.
And then you turn around on Sunday, and Sunday is a work day because you have a short week.
Yeah. State plays at home at 11 a.m. that day, so they'll be completely done after beating the Cupcake at 2:30. Podcast brought to you in part by Johnson Hill Creamery, johnsonhillcreamery.com, 662-419-9201. It is Tuesday. It's Alabama week. Get your orders in now for tailgating this weekend. johnsonhillcreamery.com. What's good about them is they will take your order directly to the Grove, to the Circle, wherever you're at. They will deliver it to you there. You can go to the website. You can order online. Don't have to talk to anybody. You can just take care of it all, and it will be there waiting on you, whether it's their small batch artisanal cheeses or charcuterie plates, their different accompaniments, and more. So, again, that's 662-419-9201 or johnsonhillcreamery.com.
My buddy Clay McNutt is the beast of Baldwin. He owns ACS, Automation Control Systems, LLC. It's a full-service, complete electrical control solutions provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. Go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. If you're starting your Christmas shopping, highly recommend Lammon's Fine Jewelry in Oxford, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. Lammon's has been serving the Oxford area for 75 years. Fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. They've got it at Lammon's. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com or 662-234-2777. We're brought to you by Pinnacle. Get in touch with Pinnacle's 401k advisory services team today. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John's helping us with our road to Boise trip. In fact, he's already booked it all. It's all done. It was so easy. We just gave him some parameters. We gave him a budget, and then we sat back and let him do it. I highly recommend that you try the same. It's going to be much more fun, a lot less stress. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. Oxford's new Greek restaurant on the square is the perfect place to plan your Christmas party featuring fabulous food and craft libations. Let OPA host your company dinner or festive party event. OPA can accommodate up to 200 guests. For catering or booking, contact Jeannie at 601-421-7147. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. For your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you, whether it be Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M here in Oxford. You can transfer your medications quickly and easily. It's just one call. They take care of the rest. So if you're here in Lafayette County, 662-236-2222. Yeah, you don't want to make too much of it, but it's definitely not a scheduling break by any stretch of the imagination for that day.
No, it's
worth noting.
It's worth noting. You lose. I'm sure they had hoped to play an 11 o'clock game and be back in Oxford by 6 or 7 that night, where everybody gets a good night's sleep. That won't be the case.
And that is not the case.
Sunday will be a bit of a sleepy day.
And only a couple SEC games that weekend as well. Most people playing cupcakes that week.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Neal's pick's going to be a challenge that week. We're going to go find some games.
I'm sure you can find some NFL games or something to just fill our slate.
Haven't dropped an NFL game on us yet.
You haven't?
Not yet. It's coming.
You did like service academies and that kind of stuff.
We did one. Honored men and women who protect our country. Thought that was
and we'll do
fair.
Army Navy in a few weeks.
Yeah.
We always do that one. Yeah, next weekend you've got Florida and Vanderbilt at 11 o'clock on SEC Network for that tilt in Nashville.
It's exciting.
It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me to know the helmets for some of these teams that are being played. I think that's Austin Peay at Alabama.
That's correct.
If I'm correct on that. I think it's East Tennessee State and Mississippi State. Those are 11 o'clock games.
Okay.
On whatever channel they're on. I guess Alabama's on an ESPN Plus game. UMass is at Texas A&M. Jimbo going to get that one.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the Minutemen up.
That'll be a hell of a pep rally.
That's 11 a.m. too. Your CBS game of the week, showing you how weak of a slate it is Georgia and Kentucky at 2:30 in Lexington for that one. Western Kentucky at Auburn, 3 o'clock for that one. And then your OR games is Ole Miss and Arkansas or Tennessee and South Carolina, the two SEC games in Columbia and Fayetteville there.
I'm guessing Tennessee, South Carolina is going to be at 6. That's my guess.
I think it is completely dependent on Ole Miss winning or losing on Saturday.
Okay.
Is my guess. Because if Ole Miss beats Alabama,
they become the attractive
They can
team.
do the 9-1. If you beat Arkansas, You're waiting on. Because you could get really lucky from an LSU, because you also are waiting on see if LSU loses. You could have the team that could win out and win the West at that point with Ole Miss. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got to be honest.
You're really confused here.
That line is so confusing to me.
Which means at like 2:30 on Saturday, you're gonna have this moment where you go, "I'll be down."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know how. I mean, I'm really having to fight the urge to put real money.
Which only happens like once every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I have the urge to put real money on that game. Like real money. Like, hey, this is our Christmas. This will be fun kind of money. It feels like a trap, and I'm like, I just put my foot right in the trap.
You only got to lay 3?
That's it.
New Mexico State.
It makes me wonder if someone's hurt and Vegas knows it.
Maybe. But it would take like Daniels. I mean,
and he walked off the field fine.
Yeah.
I watched him be interviewed by Holly Rowe.
Yeah. New Mexico State, I think, is who is in Columbia, Missouri on Saturday night for ESPNU.
By the way, Holly does a really good job.
She's good. Yeah.
She does a really good job. Her post-game stuff is really, really good.
And then the UAB Blazers in Baton Rouge for an 8 o'clock Central start next Saturday night.
Man.
ESPN 2.
Bless them. Thank God we didn't get that.
Ooh.
That's leaving us. I mean, I got home from a basketball game last night. It was 10:55. I finished writing like at 11:15.
It was
miserable. A football game's not even over at 11:15. It starts at 8 o'clock.
It was an 8:15 kick in Tuscaloosa in 2015 when we rode the bus. What time did we get home?
5 in the morning.
Was it really that late?
Yeah. brutal.
You're questioning even sleeping or not at that point. I mean, you'd have to go to sleep. But
yeah, I slept some, but it's hard to sleep. When you're not used to sleeping those hours, it's hard to...
Yeah, nothing would move the line that level versus Daniels, and then obviously if Perkins was out, that would be an impact on the game.
Yeah, but even Perkins being out...
That's not enough.
Wouldn't be enough for me to understand this line.
No.
Throw in the fact that I'm fairly certain that Jefferson is hurt, and I don't get it. I mean, honestly, I don't get it. Arkansas has 2 DBs that are suspended for that game. They got arrested late Saturday night for disturbing the peace or something along those lines. They're missing a game, including Slusher, who's one of their better DBs. I don't get it. I'm baffled by the line.
In a week of good tweets, I think I laughed more at Lane's yesterday about the Lions laying down on the ground as much as I have in anything. There was like there were 2 lions that were on the ground in some park somewhere, and said something about how he feels when defensive players won't get up. I know it rings a little hollow because of Durkin here last year, but it did really make me laugh at the same time.
He still hasn't been asked about the Karma song.
Oh.
And I wonder how much of the Karma song is about Durkin.
Oh.
It's a theory, a working theory of mine that has a little education behind it.
Well, they weren't outbid. That was a stupid thing last week that people throw up into the ether.
That was not people not realizing that was Lane taking a shot. It wasn't Lane being literal.
No.
What did you think of his answer to my question yesterday about influence?
It was the only maybe other than him talking about injuries being better and some of the more tangible things. It was the only one where I sort of perked up and went, let me think about it for a minute, because he wasn't discounting his father's impact or Pete Carroll's impact, but he mentioned that Saban was most recent.
And that Saban was regional.
Regional.
Which made me wonder
Conference and regional.
If Lane thinks, hey, the Pete Carroll approach wouldn't work in the SEC because the people are so serious about it.
Because he was fun.
Yeah.
Now, you win like that, anybody gets that after anything.
But he went wide open. Practice was wide open.
To like celebrities and shit.
Just
it was
whatever,
every day.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, Hollywood.
Yeah. Literally open.
But Carroll's kind of that way in Seattle, too. I mean, he's kind of, laissez-faire and kind of laid back and, hey, we're fun and family and love. And
yeah, sure.
And Saban's process and lockdown and very buttoned up. And Kiffin, the person, feels more like Carroll. And Monty Kiffin, kind of I think his reputation was kind of a fun-loving guy, good guy, gregarious, defensive genius and all that stuff, but a fun guy, told stories, players loved him.
Not intense.
Yeah, football.
Yeah, no.
No, and so I just thought it was interesting that he said that because I thought,
Yeah, his answer, the quote, I think that's probably just later in the career as fresher coming off of it, being there for 3 years. I was with Coach Carroll for 6, and I've been with my dad forever. I think that's more just because it was the latest part, and he took a lot of how that was done, and that was done in the SEC in this region, the way Coach did it and stuff. I think that's more just a combination of those things. Yeah.
Kind of interesting. Made me kind of contemplate that a little with it. So
does he believe he's best suited for this region? Or would he simply just have a different mode in other areas?
That was my next question. So if you everybody calm down. We're just playing around. If you took Lane Kiffin and you put him with the Chargers, for example, as the head coach, would he be more laid back? I kind of think so. If you made Lane Kiffin the head coach at UCLA, is he more laid back, more? I think so. It's my guess. My guess is that he watched Saban.
Is he not laid back here, or is he just not talking much?
They're pretty buttoned down.
Yeah.
It's pretty
serious.
Pretty serious. It's pretty methodical. It's very process. I love his answer about.
That was a good answer.
If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I love the answer about, do you sense anything different this week or whatever? And he's like, no, and that's good.
Yeah.
Because you can't allow yourself. Basically, he was saying you can't allow this to become like everybody else does. This becomes more than one game. And people put too much into it, and then if you win it, you can't bounce back. And if you lose it, which is more common,
it can't end your season. Yeah.
The tank's empty.
Yeah, he says, I'm sure it sounds crazy. We don't sit and talk about Bama week and all that like everyone else in the country seems to do. We got a lot of things to work on to get better. It really doesn't matter. It matters that you do things really well. That's how you win games. I didn't notice anything different, but I'm glad I didn't because that's not how we train them. You don't want to be a program like that, up and down. Oh, we get up for these games and we don't for these games. That's what I get mad at our fans for doing, so we're not supposed to do that either. Fair.
Oh, more than fair. Now, getting fans to do that. Good luck, Lane.
They don't play.
Because, Lane, if you can pull that off, champ, you're in the wrong field.
Yeah, if it's Central Arkansas and they're ready to go, then that's a different mode.
Yeah, you
But no, look, but it's the Ole Miss or it's any team. Forget Ole Miss. It's any team who plays Alabama's version of what Alabama does because they can't get caught up in the pomp and circumstance of them going into stadiums and everybody acting like it's the freaking Daytona 500. Just play the football game because Bama sees that constantly. Everywhere they go, it's the biggest game of the year. I mean, at some point, Bama just puts its head down and plays and is methodical, and that's what's not working right now, which is why we have these Alabama conversations. What made Saban so good, again, was the machine-oriented process of the day-to-day, year-to-year, where they were just a damn robot.
Yeah.
And that stuff didn't even faze anybody, and they went into Neal and they went into Baton Rouge, and they went into everywhere, and it just, whatever, win the game. We must kill. Move on.
Sure. Machine-like.
Terminator.
They would demoralize you in the second quarter. And by the third quarter, everybody was, oh, well, we tried.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the things. I'm not defending Gary Danielson because I don't think he's particularly great. But when you cover a lot of Alabama games, it means you're covering a lot of blowouts. And so you have to be ready for a blowout, you have to have a lot of anecdotal stuff. And they got to know that program so well, and they used a lot of the anecdotals. I get it. I don't even think it's a soft spot. I just think it's a blind spot at this point.
What bothers me about Danielson is that, and I've watched with sound on more for whatever reason. I don't even know why, but I kind of have. A lot of times I've just gone to mute it and watch it and paid attention. Is he kind of, I don't think it's even necessarily a bias. I don't think he does it on purpose, but he sort of knows which team he thinks is going to win.
Sure.
And his voice even inflects for that team differently throughout the game.
Sure.
And then almost when he realizes he has to sort of reverse in the second half, it's weird. It's a strange dynamic because it's not even Ole Miss that I noticed it. It was actually anti-Tennessee that I noticed it. It was in the Tennessee-Alabama game. Is that he was just Alabama, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, shit, no,
week
Tennessee.
after week after week, they're dealing with the Alabama people, so they know them.
Mm-hmm.
They know where to go out to eat. They know who they're going with. They know what they're doing. They have routines. Then they go to Knoxville for the first time in 2 years, and it's like, wait, who are you guys? It's almost like they've become the Alabama network a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's a flaw, but I get it. I understand how it happened.
Because they do call them 40% of the time.
And now you see it happening with Georgia a little bit. They've been around that program so much that they know it better.
Mm-hmm. Just rapport as humans. They see Kirby.
Yeah.
Hanging out. I mean, the meeting on Thursday and the whole deal.
You have that conversation enough. One has to think that in all likelihood they've sat down with Saban so many times now that occasionally they have small talk. That it's quasi-personal at times.
I think it's good for the league to have a new voice in that 2:30 game.
Yes.
It's good to send Gary to do Michigan, Iowa for a little while.
It is. No question.
Get some new dudes in to kind of stop that process.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not defending him, but I get it. I get how it happens. If you and I were to get, summoned today, hey, you're going to cover the Ole Miss Alabama game Saturday. You're going to do a national broadcast.
Better learn some tide.
better bone up, right?
Yeah.
So if it turned into being a 48-7 game, it's going to be a lot easier for us to talk in detail about Quinshon Judkins or Jackson Dart than it is for us to talk about the Alabama second-team wide receiver.
Yeah.
So there is a degree of human nature to it.
What are they going to do against Will Anderson on Saturday?
Pray. Hope that he has another kind of average game where he runs himself out of plays. And
he hasn't.
He's not been super impactful, but he's very, very talented.
at any moment.
He's very difficult to block. I think the interesting thing with Alabama this week, no matter what anybody says, and Saban, to his everlasting credit yesterday, did not do all of the, hey, we can still get back in this thing. He didn't do that. What's interesting with them is you've got guys like Anderson. Speaking of being human, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not winning a Heisman. I'm not going to the SEC championship game. I'm not playing for the national title. I've played my final truly eventful game here. I'm a couple of months away from signing with an agent and having a really big payday. I'm not far from getting ready for the biggest couple of months of my professional life. Do I really need to go 1,000%?
It's just human.
If you're Bryce Young and you take off running, is there a little part in the back of your mind that goes, this would not be a good day to get hurt? They already question my size. Don't I need to get healthy? Because I'm a first-round pick. First-round picks make a lot of money in the NFL. First-round quarterbacks. He's got to be, or needs to be, super healthy at the combine, at their pro day, when teams bring him in to work him out. Because he's got a size thing that he's got to overcome. If there's injury stuff on top of it, suddenly somebody's taking a different quarterback. You just wonder if that kicks in. The Alabama is so used to playing in consequential games.
Sure.
That's what they've done. They haven't played an inconsequential game in a decade, basically. And now they're going to play 3. And you just wonder if subconsciously they just don't have quite as much juice.
So Bryce Young will finish his career with a title, but not one as a starting quarterback. He was max backup that first year.
And a Heisman. And an SEC title.
Yeah. I mean, decorated. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, though. His personal goals at this point are over.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. If you're Jahmyr Gibbs.
And he's hurt.
If you're Jahmyr Gibbs, do you want to get hurt right now? Is it really worth it? And those are and I'm not questioning them. I'm just saying it's human.
Yeah, the Citrus Bowl is not your goal at the moment.
Well, in fact, I mean, if I'm those guys, I don't play in that game.
No.
Saban's going to lose his mind when that happens, but I don't play in that game. January 1st.
Yeah, let's all go in as a group, guys. Good.
A game that means nothing. I mean, it's one.
We need you guys to really get up against Illinois here on Saturday. I mean,
it's one thing to say, "Hey, look, until you're the guy that suffers the catastrophic knee injury in the second quarter of the Citrus Bowl."
Mm-hmm.
At which point, your draft stock just plummeted.
Yeah, sure.
You just lost a ton of money.
We've seen it.
Yeah, you just lost a ton of money.
Yeah, we've seen it. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. So if you're in Lafayette County or parts of Union or Pontotoc counties that did not previously have internet, give them a call. Get helped out, 662-238-3159.
We'll have picks up on Thursday. They're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, if you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board. Also, if your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, they've got it as well. They can help you. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you hire a candidate that they send. It's always free for the candidate, so you've got nothing to lose. Give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call, 662-832-5138. Check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward, chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smiles. Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate is based out of Jackson, Mississippi. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as industrial, retail, office, medical, and land. They provide a plethora of commercial real estate services. But our guy, B.B. Mitchell, his core focus is on sourcing investment properties for his clients. He sets himself apart with his ability to source off-market opportunities for investor clients, and that maximizes return. Pinpoint takes great pride in its attention to detail, professionalism, and hard work. So for all your commercial real estate needs, call BB 601-934-5008. And mention what he said, what he meant. That's brought to you by MyPerfectFranchise.net. They offer the ability to create income and wealth. Let Andy Ledecky guide you through a comprehensive franchise evaluation. He has tons of franchise and business ownership experience to lean on. If you hate your job, your boss, your pay, if you feel stuck, give Andy a call. He'll help you. It's Andy at MyPerfectFranchise.net.
So a couple things here, and speaking to what you were discussing about the NFL's parity, about the success of the games to this point of the season. I saw this morning. I was talking about how the quarterbacks we all thought in the preseason were the best or the $50 million per year passers have faltered while other guys have taken steps up and have played differently. Here's the thing, as mentioned with the defense being so much better, points are down league-wide with a team average of 21.8 points per game. The lowest since 2017 and the second lowest since 2009. So we're talking 14 years there. And one of the fewest points. It says create a lane for winning with different approaches. Several offenses heavy with rushing attempts. The Falcons, Eagles, and Giants are all in the playoff hunt, even though they run the ball way more than they pass it. And teams with revamped defenses, such as the Jets and the Cowboys, are eyeing high playoff seeds as well. 79 games have been decided by one score. The most through 9 weeks since the 1970 merger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've just bet double-digit dogs, you're 12-3.
Really?
Yeah.
Hard to cover lines that big in the NFL.
Yeah. Which I think is one of the reasons that people like me like it so much. That
everything's close.
2:30 to 3:15 window is like, 6 games.
Because everybody's bouncing. Yeah,
it's great. And you get that in college sometimes, but you get it in the NFL pretty much every week. Like we had that great finish to games on Saturday night, like the Alabama-LSU game, which was obviously impactful, was dramatic, and then you flipped over to Auburn, Mississippi State.
You at least got a fun ending.
And it was less impactful, obviously, but it was still like, whoa, what's going to happen here?
Yeah. We're at the halfway point, so it's not completely meaningless. If the NFL playoffs began this week, the Bills would get the number 1 seed in the AFC still, despite losing to the Jets on Sunday. The Chiefs would host the LA Chargers in round 1.
I'd watch.
The Ravens would host the Miami Dolphins in round 1.
I'd definitely watch.
And the Tennessee Titans would host the New York Jets in round 1.
Be locked in.
That one would be your
Yeah, Jets, Titans. Yeah, sign me up.
The Patriots are the 8, and the Bengals are the 9. They're in the AFC. See, the Colts are just 10th. I mean, they're in this thing.
It's weird.
It's not over.
So in the NFC, Eagles are 1.
Eagles are 1. They would get the bye. The Vikings would host the San Francisco 49ers in week 1. Now, that's one.
Oh.
All in on that one.
Sign me up.
That might even be the round 1 game I want.
Well, I mean,
maybe if I could just pick my teams.
I'm watching that.
And the Vikings have a 2-game lead on the 3 seed.
And their reward is you play a dangerous team that's very good on the road.
Mm-hmm. Oof. And they're in good shape.
Who's 3-6?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Seahawks, Cowboys in Seattle.
Oh.
You just want to lock these in, don't you?
NFL playoffs. Wow.
And then the worst game, because the NFC South has to make the playoffs, unfortunately, is the Buccaneers hosting the Cowboys in a 4-5 game.
I thought you had Dallas going to Seattle.
Oh, sorry. Giants. Seattle hosting New York. I apologize. With a wild card.
Can we get Dallas instead? Because I would much rather see that.
They're tied.
I just watched the Giants go out there.
Yeah, Dallas would be at Tampa in a 4-5 game. Seattle would be hosting the Giants in
Dallas
a 3-6 game.
at Tampa. You go out there and lose somehow to that NFC South 45-year-old quarterback at that point.
That's on you.
It's over.
Yeah, they're handing you a platter here because right today it would be Bucks or Falcons. Go win a game.
Go win a game.
The 5 seed is looking all right, whatever turns out to be there. But look at this. The Giants are the 6th seed at 6-2, and the 49ers are 4-4. 2-game lead.
Yeah.
If the Giants could just hold on. Got a lot of work to do, but
he's done a really good job though.
The Cowboys have beaten the Giants in the game they have played, is why the Cowboys have the tiebreaker over the Giants, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Falcons at 4-5, but they can only really win the South.
I haven't even looked at – I know we went over NFL yesterday. I haven't even looked at the games this week.
Just in general?
I haven't.
Did you catch up with Tyler or what happened?
Actually,
you've been ahead. Sorry.
I've been ahead. I actually gained a game despite going 4-6-1.
So he had a rough week.
Yeah, I think he's starting to get in his head a little bit.
Is he? Does he know he's wearing the T-shirt at this point?
He's beginning to worry about it.
Our Thursday night game is Atlanta at Carolina.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. This weekend, you get Seattle at Tampa Bay. Tampa giving the Seahawks 2.5.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
I actually love that line. I've ridden Seattle to some wins. I will continue to.
Chicago at home, -3 on the Lions.
Huh. Interesting.
Kansas City at home, -9.5 on the Jags.
The number's too big.
Tennessee at home, giving 3 to the Broncos.
Don't hate that.
You like Tennessee at home? Malik Willis looks pretty shitty.
I need to get my guy back.
Yeah. There's a fall off there.
Malik tries really hard.
Sure. It might be okay one day, but that day is not today.
That day's not today.
Good game here. I might jump on these points today just in case. Because here's a game where you'll change your mind if it goes the other way. Buffalo at home, -6, Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
You took a chance that Allen's out.
You get your 6 points with the backup quarterback. I'd like it. Now, there's more to them than just him. But yes, sure.
Look, Buffalo can go win that game by a touchdown. Cleveland getting 4 on the road in Miami.
Oh, we get that. That's right. We get the 8:30 a.m. Germany. That's so awesome. I'm done by noon.
What are we talking
10
about?
thoughts. The Seattle Bucks game is in Dublin.
Oh, it is.
Or not
yes.
Dublin. It's in
it's over there. I don't know.
Berlin.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay. Sure. Take your word for it. I said it's Cleveland. Yeah, let's see. Houston and the Giants. Texans at Giants, 6.5 on that line. I don't like that at all.
Laying 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish it was 5.
They're not. They're good, but they're not blow you out good.
New Orleans giving 2.5 on the road in Pittsburgh Sunday.
Pittsburgh sucks. Well, I know.
Okay. The Colts getting 6 in Vegas on Sunday. I can't bet on Vegas to win a game by a touchdown.
No.
Their coaching has been abysmal.
But it's Jeff Saturday on the other sideline.
But, okay. Your national game is Dallas at Green Bay on Saturday. It is the Cowboys giving 5
Saturday?
at Lambeau. Sunday.
Okay.
My fault. Cowboys giving 5 at Lambeau.
Yeah, I might lay them.
Really?
Green Bay looks awful. Aaron Rodgers looks like, you know what? Father Time caught me.
Arizona getting 3 at the LA Rams on Sunday. It's a stay away.
It's a stay away.
The Rams are just so beat up, I can't do anything with them either way.
And the Cardinals aren't bad. They're better on the road than they are at home.
They are. And then your night game, your NBC game. NBC has done a better job of getting good games. The San Francisco 49ers at home giving 7 to Justin Herbert and the Chargers. It's a big line.
Yeah, I know I missed it. I caught it in real time, the combination of elite players and elite coaching, which was definitely a shot at Jimbo Fisher. But when I went looking on the transcript, and I was in a hurry because I had stuff to do.
I guess that was a shot, wasn't it?
It was, and I couldn't find it on the transcript.
Okay.
And you know how this is when you're just reading words over and over and over, they just blur together.
Then Monday night, it is the Commanders at the Eagles, and the Eagles are giving 11 points.
It's too many.
But you're not putting your money on the Commanders, are you? Are you going to think about the
11
double digits?
I mean, we don't do Monday games, but yeah, I would think about it because there's a trend here. 3-12, double-digit favorites are 3-12 covering the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's That's more than a trend at this point. I laid 14 with the Eagles last week. They won by 12.
Ed Orgeron asking David Bryant to define trend that day.
Well, Ed, you see.
Yeah, it was really funny. Because David, I don't remember, it was probably about losing close games or something. It was like trend or whatever, and Ed goes, define trend. And they used to do like the mic, they'd hold the mic for you or whatever, and I guess Jay Stern had it, and David was like, he grabbed the mic back. It was like, well, Ed, and like gave the definition and then waited again, and they had the back and forth, and it was.
I miss David.
It was a dumber time back then. Like, it was different. It was a little more low-key. It was dumber
It was
back
more
then.
fun back then. It was David and VZ and...
Well, because back then, here's the thing. We gripe about having to wait. We don't wait nearly as long as we used to. It used to be hours. You would just hang out. And at least...
we all liked each other.
Yeah, it was like a group where you're laughing. I mean, it was a lot of, like, cutting up and stuff. And it was funny.
We liked one another.
Yeah. Because back then, you would do interviews on Monday where it's like, Orgeron's coming at, let's call it 11:30, and then players are at like 12:45, 1:30, and 2:15.
Yeah.
I mean, it's spread out over 2-3 hours where you're just
brutal,
leaving, coming back, hanging out, doing whatever you're doing. Yeah, different world at that point. So, whatever. All right, I guess that's it.
What we have now on the beat is a lot of people who ask questions to ask questions.
Don't use them.
There's no way they're using all that. Like Kermit's press conference last night was 8 minutes.
Was it really?
And it was just, this is not necessary.
Oh, I guess we forgot that. Ole Miss plays Friday against FAU.
Yeah.
There's a story at rebelgrove.com.
There's basketball coverage. I know people are like, give me your thoughts. Here's the truth. I'd like to see another couple of games before I...
And Ruffin has to come back for them to be anything.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
So
right now it's Matthew Morrell, some young guys. Now I will say this: a couple of the young guys showed some flashes.
Mm-hmm.
The Caldwell kid came in and gave them a offensive burst. Abrams was. You have to think his heart rate was a little high.
Sure,
he was okay. He was true freshman, first game. I'm not passing a verdict on a true freshman on his first game. The bigs, they're figuring out a rotation. Yesterday, it was kind of weird. I was super happy for Robert Allen yesterday, for all of the talk about Robert Allen. That was a catastrophic knee injury that he suffered a year ago.
He had 15 in 22 minutes.
The doctor told him after the surgery, hey, look, this was a severe injury and you might never play again. And it was a long road back. And for him to get on the court last night, and not only get on the court, but get on the court, be productive, be healthy, and look like himself, that no matter what you think of the team or the way they're put together or any of that stuff, you have to be happy for that kid. And by all accounts, he's an absolutely wonderful young man. And I was super happy for him that he was able to play as effectively as he was.
I know a lot of people have been waiting. Most people know this, but Ole Miss is releasing the baseball version of the season, the hour and 40 minutes, something like that. It is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for a release on that. By the way, I know people have been waiting on that and asking, so that is the release time for that.
It's tonight.
Tomorrow. It's Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Wednesday at 7
is the release. It could be on ESPNU. I saw they had an ESPNU logo in the trailer, but I don't know exactly what's going on there. So. Anyway, but it's wherever it is tomorrow night. So we'll continue. Again, a lot of stuff on the network and the website. Read Brian's story if you haven't on Quinshon Judkins, and more coming as the day goes on. So appreciate everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.